Hello, this is Heather Hoffman, and today I have a fun, delicate, glittery, sparkly card to share with you using some of the new Pinkfresh Studio released this month in October. I'm featuring on this the beautiful Folklore die. It's a very detailed, intricate die, and I'm using, you can just see all the detail on it, and I'm using some glitter cardstock. This is from Simon Says Stamp, and I love, you can see as I kind of rub it, the glitter doesn't rub off. It's nice and sturdy and solid. Do you know that glitter paper, I noticed cutting with this, it is a little bit of a labor of love. All the pieces didn't exactly pop out just all on their own. I kind of had to use my little poking tool, but you can see I have one that I cut out of purple that I cut, I kind of punched all the little details out, and then the green one I punched some of the larger details and left some of the smaller ones in. They kind of hug and hang in on their own, and then the silver one I didn't cut all the way, and you'll see why as we get towards the end. But I'm starting off, so I'm going to glue the green one onto my white card base first, and you want a really good sturdy glue with a fine tip applicator for this. My favorite is Ranger Multi-Matte Medium, and it's nice because it's a matte finish, so you won't see the finished, if any glue leaks out or anything like that. It has a matte finish. Now I've sped this part up as I'm trying to hit just little dots of glue, particularly on each of the little spots where there's a negative die cut that I'm leaving in because I want to make sure that holds in place and doesn't fall out down the road. So just little tiny dots of glue. It doesn't take a huge amount for this, and you can use other methods, but for this, that's what I ended up deciding to do. So you can see how easy it is just to set it up and line it up on my card base and kind of get the edges lined up, and then making sure to press everything into place to make sure that the glue is fully attached and it's all the way down on my card base. Now for the purple layer, I'm going to use the purple layer next on top. Now this is, since it's all detail cut out, instead of using a liquid glue, I'm going to use just a glue pen. It's kind of a fine line. So I didn't entirely hit every little detail. I just tried to hit kind of the bigger areas and hit some little dots on the ends to make sure to hold it all in place. I also sped this up so you didn't have to watch how slow and tedious this part was as I went over each little bit of it. Now I'm going to turn that over and carefully line that up and press that into place. Can you see all the detail and the layers on that? Isn't that fun? And as I was sticking it down, I had glue on my fingers that kept wanting to attach and pull back up. So another trick that I'm going to do in just a second there, I kept trying to clean my fingers and do it, and it just wasn't working. So I pulled out a piece of parchment paper that I keep on hand on my craft desk. Wax paper would also work really well, but you'll see when I pull it out, I just laid it over the top once I made sure I kind of had everything basically lined up where I wanted it to go, so nothing was twisted or out of place. But that parchment paper will allow me to lay it over the top and then firmly press over the entire surface there and make sure all of my glue is adhered down very well. But then look at that, peels right off without the glue wanting to pop back off and stick to that paper as well. So that's another good trick. Now you'll see why I decided not to fully punch out all the layers on this silver one. All that little detail, I didn't bother with the outside edges because I knew I just wanted to use that centerpiece. So I'm using some fine detail scissors and just coming in, and if you follow the line of where the die cut is there, I'm just trimming off the extra on the outside so I only end up with that center medallion piece. And this is going to allow me to set just a separate little bit of detail right in the middle. Originally when I laid it down, I planned on lining it up exactly with the one that's there. You can see how that worked. Once I got the glue on it, I kind of rotated it a little so it added some more detail on another layer as well. So again, that fine glue pen to the back of this, cleaning off the glue off of my work surface, and you can see as I put it on, I realized, ooh, that looks really pretty when I spin it partway. And then I'm going to pull that same piece of parchment paper again to help me make sure that that piece is adhered on nice and firmly on that as well. All right, and at this point my background is all done. Do you see how glittery and sparkly it is? I love those colors together too. It was kind of a fun combination, a little silver and purple and green. Now to add my sentiment, I'm going to pull out my favorite things to say. This is the beautiful, huge new sentiment set that just released on this October release. And it's full of encouraging, uplifting sentiments. I love all the different fonts and everything. So I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment I chose, which is difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. And I'm going to heat emboss it on a little bit of black cardstock. I always keep scraps of black cardstock handy because I very often love to heat emboss my sentiments in white on there. So I always seem to have little pieces of it laying around. So I always grab one a little bit bigger if I can. Then I can stamp and heat emboss and have something to hold on to while I put my embossing powder and stamp my image and everything. And then I can trim it down with my paper trimmer once I'm done. So I'm going to quickly heat set this to melt that white embossing powder. And then I will use my scissors to trim it down and mount it with some foam adhesive over the top of that image. Now I did set this aside once it was all finished to make sure I had plenty of time to dry all those little bits of glue. When it finishes, if you notice any places that aren't held down as firmly as you want, like if you want to send that through the mail or anything, you can always grab that same fine glue and just lift up the little pieces and add just a tiny dot of glue here and there in little areas. But for the most part, I was really impressed with how well that glitter paper held down just with the Ranger glue and then that glue pen that I used. So there we go. There's my sentiment on there. And there's the beautiful sparkly glitter card for giving to someone special. Thanks so much for coming by today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've had fun with the fabulous new release from Pinkfresh Studio. I know it's been very popular. There's so many beautiful items in the new release. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out and have a wonderful day.